is the Sterling vs. Podcast, here to inform and entertain the Sonic fan in you. Welcome and enjoy the show.
Hello everyone, this is the Sterling vs. Podcast with your hosts, Silver Rhymes, and my co-host, Emerald Lance.
Howdy.
So, good to have you back, Emerald Lance.
It's good to be back.
Great. Unfortunately, our fresh co-host from last week couldn't make it this week due to personal reasons, but we'll try to get him here next week. We're going to get this party started now with a little bit of news in the Sonic community. First, from talented artist Bentley Jones has finally announced his competition winners. Congratulations to about 10 of them, and there's some pretty good submissions out there. If you haven't been keeping up thus far, here's your chance to look at them all at once. So hop on over to either his blog, his Facebook, or the Sonic Stadium webpage, which has an article of him announcing his winners. Oh, or his YouTube page. Check them all out. They're pretty cool. I think the winners get a copy of the game and some other stuff. I don't know. But yeah, congratulations to them all, and happy for them. Let's see. Some Sonic 4 screens show some official Sonic 4 screens, not leaked ones. Finally show some Eggman action. Looks pretty cool. I mean, not that, we're surprised or anything. We kind of known so far it's going to look amazing, but some official screens of Eggman doing his wrecking ball thing. It's pretty spiffy. Let's see. iPhone news. Sonic 2 heading that way. It's going to be a pretty good port. Unfortunately, there's no two-player support, but we expected that. But there's no Tails. Tails.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
There's a Sonic 2 port coming to the iPhone.
Right.
And you only get to play as Sonic.
Exactly.
Well, then it's not Sonic 2.
What can I tell you?
The two doesn't stand for the number and sequence that it came out in. It stands for the number of people in the game. Without Sonic and Tails, it's just Sonic 1 with different levels and a spin dash. That's all it is.
Well, I'm shocked as well. It's. I mean, out of all the Sonic 2 ports, this could essentially be the worst, because there's half the game is missing. No Tails, and of course no two-player support. It just what kind of port is this?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's one thing if you're like me and just choose to never play with Tails next to you. I mean, I don't play with Tails behind me anyways. I just play Sonic solo anyways, so I don't know how much that whole spiel I just did a couple seconds ago means, but the option to play with Tails or even as Tails should never be taken away.
Yeah,
that's stupid.
I mean, one of the great things about Sega, which is also one of their downfalls, is that they give us so many options, which unfortunately has us begging to get all those options within every game. But this is early. This is early game. We expect the Tails and we want to keep Tails. Especially if it's a port. If you're gonna, I mean, this is kind of like saying we're gonna port Sonic 2, but you can't play with color. I'm like, really? I can't play with color. It's something like that.
It's not so much the number of options. I don't think it's how many options they're giving us. It's which options they're giving us and which options they're wanting to take away.
I mean, if you think of it this way. So many characters are out and released for playability in all these different games, like Sonic 2. Not Sonic 2. Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic 06. They let you play so many characters, new and old, and people will say when this next Sonic game comes out, we should be able to play as this character. Well, I think this character and this character, and then 10 characters are suggested for play. I'm like, just it's enough to have so many characters in a story, but now you want them all playable. It's just kind of getting out of hand, and who deserves to be played more than others is just generating even more arguments, and it's just kind of silly. It's just one of those things that Sega has let get out of hand. They try to cater to all these different types of people, Like, oh, we'll make Shadow for the people who are kind of dark, make Rouge for those who are kind of rougey,
make rougey. That's a nice way of putting it.
We'll give Big to the character, to the people who like things slow and just want to chill, kind of lazy. And they just making all these characters, and that's great for a story, but you kind of be like, well, this character exists, we might as well play as him. There's only so many people, characters you can put into a game before it just kind of becomes redundant. I mean, this isn't Brawl. Brawl has close to 40 characters, and that's how it is, because it's a fighting game. It fits. But when you play like an adventure game, 4, 5, 6 characters is pretty cool, but not an entire cast of everyone in existence. It's kind of silly,
Sonic Heroes bugged me out for that reason.
Because of
it's like they took everybody from the past 5 years in the Sonic history and just brought them all out.
Yeah,
Sonic Heroes.
And that was like the character with the most playable characters to date. I don't know any other game which is being it. It's weird. And another problem with those characters that force you of the gameplay. I mean, I guess they did a pretty good job with Black Knight making 3 additional characters playable by choice as kind of a additional thing. That was good. That was pretty brilliant. And future games should follow suit. I mean, even the Advanced series, you could play as 5 people. Yeah, 5 different characters. And it played like the Genesis games. You play any of them, storyline doesn't change much, and you still get the whole experience. It's just something I think they should work on. But yeah, the Sonic 2 port, I don't know how good it's gonna do. I don't think it's gonna do as well as it should if had they kept it complete. I mean, it's one thing to take out debug mode or something, but another to just take out a component that has defined a game. Really. Whew. Well, about that, we're gonna talk about Shadow the Hedgehog. Whew, this is gonna be a doozy.
The game?
No.
The game?
The character. We're gonna talk about the character.
They're not releasing a Shadow 2, are they?
No. I assure.
Because I haven't. Yeah.
I assure you, there's no future releases concerning this Black Hedgie. So it had been brought to my attention that there are a couple people, actually a lot of people, who have very differing views on Shadow the Hedgehog and where he stands as a character. Where should I begin? Alright, first let's give our impressions on him thus far. I'll go first. Shadow the Hedgehog, I think he's a pretty cool guy. That's a very general statement. I think that a lot of them are pretty cool guys. Gets his humble beginning.
Takes down Eggman and doesn't afraid of anything.
Right. And, when he came on the scene in SA2, I thought he just kind of looked cool, and then that was it. And when I played it, really, really played it, like a lot of times, and just kind of reading into his actions and how it was, he was, it was kind of sad. It was like, oh, yeah, his best friend died, and now he's in the future, and everything's all crazy, and it's like, you kind of feel for him. But he really comes off as someone who hasn't had the best of times, and he's really mean to those who don't really help him out. And other than that, even if you are on his side, he's gonna be a little, he's gonna act a little snippy. He's gonna be like, who do you think you are, or something like that. He could really he's somewhat show-offy, especially when facing off against his opponents, like Sonic. So he's definitely not completely humble, but is quite well aware about his superiority over others, since he is essentially the ultimate life form. So he definitely shows himself as such, and really proves himself to be a hero by the end when he sacrifices his life to save the planet. So what starts off as a really confused guy, he finds his place in the circle of life. I know. And with his supposed death in place, we kind of just remember him as a martyr of sorts. rectifying his mistakes, and we move on. And then Sonic Heroes, or Sonic Battle if you played that, since both essentially had him come back out of nowhere, and us being extremely surprised. A lot of people rejoiced. We're like, he's back. And some of us were kind of peeved that a supposed Jesus-like hedgehog just coming back, for no apparent reason. And of course, a lot of people, like me, try to rationalize, well, he didn't really die, it just made it seem that way. He was super after all. Coming, re-entering the Earth's atmosphere had little to no effect on him. Oh, worst that could happen is bunk in his head. Others coming off as, well, this is ridiculous. They don't bring back a dead character. It's absurd. Don't do it for the fans. The story is what matters. He really showed up as someone cool. Now he's back, and now he's some sort of D-bag. It's ridiculous. Well, those are the main opposing views at that point. And in Sonic Heroes, he really was just a guy with amnesia, being the muscle on Team Dark. He's just, running around trying to get to Eggman, helping Rouge and Omega try to do their thing too. But, they all want one thing, and that was Eggman. All the teams had one thing in mind. But this guy, he really came off as, I want my memories back. Who am I? But he kept his personality, which was kind of weird. It was just weird having him still act the same while having no recollection of who he even was, really. Of
the events that made him so angsty in the first place.
Yeah, so now he was just he was being Shadow for the sake of being Shadow, instead of having him, be someone who's actually lost. So it's kind of like, it kind of cheapens who he is as a person.
And then, hold on, what's worse is that after Shadow the Hedgehog, when he finally does get his memory back, he still is the same. He doesn't care about Maria, and he's still just Shadow for being Shadow. Throwing that out there.
And throughout Sonic 06, we can say, in terms of being who he was kind of, he came off of someone who really didn't care about much of anything but getting the job done. Since he was hired by Gunn and chasing after Mephiles and just, hearing what might happen to him, he just doesn't care. And just
the fact that he was hired by Gunn even after he got his memories back, he remembers exactly what Gunn did to him. It just, yeah. Shadow. Just interjecting. I can't. As Shadow just gets older and older in the series, I don't think that they're planning on doing any kind of character development.
All right, so Lance played Rivals. How was he in Rivals? Because I've never played Rivals and I don't plan to.
On Rivals, he was the same as everybody else. Slow. The only difference really between each character was their special moves. I haven't played the second Rivals game, but the only difference between each character was the special moves.
Well, in terms of story.
In terms of story?
Like him being in that game, because I didn't talk about him.
Okay. I'll give you a really quick crash course in what happened in Sonic Rivals. Eggman was turning everything into a cards. He turned Amy and Tails into a card, so that was Sonic's motivation. Turned the Master Emerald into a card, that was Knuckles' motivation. Silver, I guess, since the disturbance in the past and came back, that's still better than Shadow's. Shadow doesn't have a reason, he's just kind of there. He's just kind of there.
Oh.
If he does have a reason, I don't remember it, and I remember everybody else's. I mean, it didn't stand out to me. It wasn't a very good one. I don't think he had a reason. I think he was just kind of there for the sake of, like you said, being Shadow.
Poor Shadow. Always getting the short end of the stick. I mean, he was good in battle. In Sonic Battle. I mean, he... Not knowing... I mean, let's see. To my knowledge, it came out before Heroes in Japan, but came out here at the exact same time as Heroes. So story-wise, it technically happens after Heroes, just because that makes the most sense. I wish I could remember. He was definitely downplayed. He was Shadow of Sonic Adventure 2 without the mopiness over Maria, crying and all. Yeah, I mean, he remembered her and used that as like motivation to help out more, to help out Sonic, help out Imuro and the gang. But when it comes to really doing anything impacting, he was just kind of hanging about. But that's as far as that goes, because it was not much for a handheld, but there you go. And Black Knight wasn't really Shadow. It was just Lancelot being portrayed by Shadow, so I don't think I could count that. Plus, I haven't played the game, so I don't really know. I hear good things from it though. So, I guess that's enough for Shadow.
You know what we need for our show?
A backup recorder. That'd be nice.
No, even better than that.
A third person.
Yeah, but no, that's not what I was going.
Chocolate milk. That's what I'm going for.
Yes, that would work too. Wow, you're just coming up with all sorts of cool stuff that I'm not even thinking about.
A voice actor to be a permanent part of our show.
No.
Ryan Drummond, for instance. Have him on speed dial. No, I'm just kidding. What do we need?
We need a little panel that a sound effects panel. We push a button and it goes.
You mean
or
like
it goes or whatever, like radio shows.
You mean like a soundboard?
A soundboard. That way we can have where one of us, I guess you, because it's your show, but could have like little Sonic sounds or just random sounds.
I just need the sounds, and with my time constraints, I don't have the time to go search for them.
We need to, after the show, I'll set you up, bro.
Set me up?
We'll get some sounds.
Alright, cool.
You've got voice tracks, don't you, from just about every Sonic game since your first adventure.
I'm too lazy to sift through those, because they're like filed. They're like, event 1, sound effect 1, voice 2 or something like that, and I'd have to listen to each one just to go through them and then label them and such. I mean, like, find the computer room, that took me like 20 minutes to look through, and I was just looking at the Vector one.
Like, if you were gonna take all the voices from like Shadow the Hedgehog, how big would all the voice files be put together?
All right.
What about are we looking
Open it
at?
up. All right, let's say let's do the Japanese. Shadow the Hedgehog English voices would be around 100 and it says larger then. All right, let me just do right click properties. 150 megs.
Really, the whole all of them?
Yeah, all for just Shadow the Hedgehog English.
Put them in the Dropbox. I'll sift through them.
Sonic Adventure DX is around 60 megabytes.
Yeah, I'll sift through them.
All right, finally.
I'll even provide you with some nifty sound effects myself.
All right, cool. Lance, tell us about your fantastic time on Tuesday, hanging out with a fellow podcast group, 4-Player Podcast at the Bees.
I was hanging out with 4-Player Podcast. It was nice. We were at they were hosting an event, a community game night event at an Applebee's just down the road from where I'm at now. It's about 10, maybe 15-minute drive from where I'm at now. It was they had all sorts of kind of cool stuff set up. They had everything from the PlayStation 3. Let me think. They had a PlayStation 3, an Xbox. No, they had 2 Xbox 360s, 2 Wii's, a Nintendo 64, a Super Nintendo, and what looked like a PlayStation 2. I couldn't tell. All I saw was the controller. And I didn't, I'm not real familiar with 4-Player Podcast myself. I don't know what they all look like. So I learned their faces. I played some games with David. He beat me bad. I beat him a couple times, but he's pretty good. I was only able to beat him by being cheap. And he was a good sport. They're all cool guys. None of them are, snobbish or anything. They're all pretty cool. And then as I was leaving, I was there's this one guy who was playing with me on Soul Calibur 4, and I had played with a bit of the community, and this guy I'd played with for a while. So I was telling him that I was leaving and that it was cool playing with them all. And then he was sitting at one of the Wii's playing New Super Mario Brothers Wii with one of the guys, with somebody else. And he's like, talking to me. And as I was leaving, the other guy turned around and introduced himself, and it was Nick from Four Player Podcast. And I, like I said, I don't know anybody's faces. He was sitting there the whole time. So he didn't move around really. He was just sitting at the Wii the whole time. So I didn't really mingle with him. But I felt kind of stupid because I felt kind of like a fool because I said, it's fun playing with you guys. When I meant like everybody, the whole, the community, everybody was there, right? I felt kind of stupid that I didn't, at least say hi to them or say what's up or that kind of stuff.
But it was a good experience. You got to know them.
Good experience. I know what they look like now.
Mm-hmm. You got to know them without having, be starstruck since you didn't know who they were technically.
I mean, I knew David right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
I knew him right off the bat, and he was pretty cool. I was playing Melee, and he actually came up to me, and we started playing, and like I said, he defeated me utterly. Like he was Peach, and I was Samus, and I keep talking about how I'm Beast with Samus, and I got schooled like a noob.
No.
So yeah, I tried picking other people in a desperate attempt, and he was a good sport. He picked other people too. I still got schooled. It was not so much embarrassing as much as it is I just got to remember, no matter how good you are, there's always going to be someone better. Unless you're like number one in the leaderboards, then I guess you're the best. But yeah, it was pretty eye-opening, pretty fun. Melee felt really bizarre. When you play Brawl, after when I just got Brawl, right, I was so used to playing Melee that Brawl felt weird, but then I got used to Brawl. Now I go back to Melee and it just felt like something I should know, but I don't. It was very different. All the techniques I use in Brawl are like they're void in Melee.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. So I think we're gonna be ending off a good note here. So thanks for joining us this week, peeps. And we've definitely got some treats in store for next week.